100% single source varietal honeys, and then 25% of the rest of the stuff. So I knew that I started buying a lot of honey, and I knew one of the things you could do with honey was make mead. So I started about a year ago pursuing building a meadery, gathering information and things like that, and reached out to the only meadery in New Mexico, which is Falcon Mead, and Dara Nagel turns out wanted to retire, so I wound up buying the business. So that's how I got into mead making.
I still think that it was Dara wanted to buy a Tesla, and,
Yeah, well, that's what he's telling everybody, but truth be told, you can't get a Tesla for what I bought that meadery for, I can promise you that.
Oh, dear.
Oh, Lord. So, how is it that when did you come by the idea of mead? How long have you been into mead?
I came by the idea of mead actually originally back in 2007 when I was still in Hawaii, and I was developing this concept called the Bistro and Hive market, and I was researching ideal cities to launch this prototype in, and Santa Fe was one of those cities where I ultimately wound up. And it's all based on the barrel of honey and what can you do with it. And sort of being the third leg of a three-legged stool. You've got your farmers, you've got your beekeepers. Farmers don't keep bees generally, and beekeepers don't, have crops. And there's a reason for that, because they're both extremely busy at the same time. Plus, beekeepers need multiple farmers to really be successful. They move their bees around to different crops and things like that. So I just thought there was kind of this next evolutionary step of, farmers markets are great, but you can only get those 1, maybe 2 days a week generally, and that's the case here in Santa Fe. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great if people could have a place to buy all these wonderful value-added products, not so much the potatoes, onions, and carrots, but, the salsas that people make out of the chilies they grow, the jams, jellies, and chutneys out of the raspberries they grow, and so on and so forth. So, I decided to be that third leg of the three-legged stool, I call it, and really the core message for all of the entities, the Bistro, the Hive market, is how to live locally, more sustainably, and not just talking bumper stickers. And I read a blog about sustainability, and now I feel good about it because I shopped at Whole Foods and I bought a Subaru. So
do you have a Subaru?
But no, but I would love to have one. They're great cars.
They are. I like my Subaru when I had one. I've got a Volkswagen now.
Yeah, me too. Subarus are great.
Volkswagens are better.
Subaru there. I don't know, man.
I like my Volkswagen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and there's lots of ways we can go with that one, but so I just wanted to actually take that action step, actually do something that was practicing sustainable business and the doing phase, rather than just talking about it and being informed and advocating. I just, I've been in the restaurant business a long time. I was in the candle business for a long time. So I had sort of gone through the gauntlet of small business and had some success with it. And I felt that this brand had, superior messaging compared to, specifically to the Bistro. And that is, you look at successful brands out there now. You've got, Starbucks. What does their logo and brand look like? You got Chipotle. That's another one. What does their logo and brand look like? What do they actually stand for? And I just felt, the Bistro with the Almighty B had such a powerful, strong message that really identified with all the key points to how I wanted to conduct my business and live my life, and it was, the bee's really just a metaphor for me. It's a way to carry that message, and there's a long family history of specifically that, using the bee, to everything from my grandfather, who was an aeronautical engineer, to a great grandfather that designed the Christmas bell. It's that paper mache bell that folds in half and unfolds.
No way, really?
70s, but yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's like a
both,
huge industry there. Not just the bells, like every shape of things that fold up like that. That's so cool.
Right, and it was started by my great grandfather and got the patent on it. And they were actually from opposing ends of the family, different, mother on one side, father on the other. But there's just this really bizarre sort of affiliation with honeybees, and not beekeeping, believe it or not. My grandfather, my mom's side, was from Oxford, England, came to the States during World War II, and he worked on he moved here after the war, but during the war, he developed something called honeycomb armor. It's those amphibious vehicles you see on D-Day that land on Normandy and the troops come spilling out. He designed the armament systems for those vehicles. And as a kid, going to his house, family functions and holiday and things like that, he always had a beehive in his backyard and was writing in his little notebook and working in his laboratory and doing his engineering thing. But I was the one grandkid out of 12 that was just completely latched on to him, and throughout all of his life until he died in 1987, I really was very close to him. And in 2007, during the height of colony collapse, I received some of his personal notebooks, and they had to sit for 20 years because they were technically classified.
Oh, wow.
So he willed those to me, and I took these boxes of his books down to a beekeeper in Hawaii and showed it to him, and got introduced to these people from representatives from Firestone Tires and Carrier Air Conditioner and Iowa Beef Packers, and I kind of pulled this guy aside who owned Captain Cook Honey. His name is Garnet Pruitt, fifth generation beekeeper on Hawaii. At one time, Hawaii was the largest honey and beeswax producing area in the world, believe it or not.
You wouldn't
but at
think
any
so.
rate,
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know. Well, Big Island is the size of Rhode Island, and it's always blooming, so that has a lot to do with it. But
there is that. Yeah, you just think
you don't have 6 months of downtime like a lot of us do.
True. Yeah. You just think in terms of total number of bees. You just wouldn't think that there'd be so many in such a relatively small space.
Yeah, it's literally full of flowers. That island is just full of constant nectar. Slow and steady wins the race. So at any rate, I show Garnet these memoirs, these ledgers, and these books, and he's like, Greg, you're obviously looking for something to do with this in this phase of your life. If you have any question, you should just read these books. You'll figure it out. And driving back from Captain Cook, where Captain Cook Honey is, driving up this really windy road called Napapo Road, just had that sort of lightning bolt moment. The word bistro just blasted into my head, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. And then I said, well, I wanted it to be more than just food. I wanted this whole experience around the honeybee, this whole sort of general store, and then a little further down the road, the Hive Market and Bistro just was emblazoned in my head, and I just went back and had sort of a Jerry Maguire moment and just started writing, and 2 weeks later, emerged from my house with this great, grandiose plan to go to the mainland and start the Hive Market and Bistro, and well, here I am.
Interesting. Now, at this point in time when you were in Hawaii, were you a professional chef then?
Yeah, I had a catering business,
okay.
Island Chef Services. Yeah, we did in-flight catering because everyone flies there.
Right.
No one drives. And very few
that we know of.
Yeah, exactly. So I, had started this catering business, and I had a few people that had been asking for me to sell it, and so I finally sold them this business and came to Santa Fe and literally, started making food, putting it into boxes, and slapped on a chef's coat, made a business card, and built a website, and started running around to different offices and shops in downtown Santa Fe every single day. Selling the brown bag lunch out of my Volkswagen.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
There's a few rules about opening a restaurant, and that's rule number one: location. So I wanted to find an ideal location, and I could accomplish that by sort of roaming around downtown and getting in every door I could. Second thing is when you open a restaurant, don't leave. That's the first rule people break when they open. They might get an initial push, but then they haven't really built a clientele yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this way, I could build a clientele. It's doing it the hard way, but it's like gold once you have it.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is I could really hone my menu. Prepare things that people wanted, and know about timing when people are really hungry, and know about, people really don't start making lunch decisions till about 9:30 or 10. Forget about the day before. What do you want for lunch tomorrow? I have no idea.
That sounds like around here. What are we having for dinner in 3 hours before dinner? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's look in the freezer.
Yeah.
Right. So, I learned an incredible amount of just important information for a small business to have. And so, the day I opened up in October 2012, I actually did the door-to-door thing. I thought I was going to do it for 8 to 12 weeks. That's 2-3 months. Well, it took me a year. So I found a location, built my clientele, honed my menu, and learned some of these habits that are very ritualistic, especially at lunch. And so I decided that this location came a year to the day I started, and just in time, because I was literally going through 2 pairs of shoes a month just running around, but I was in really good shape. And so the day I opened, I just went out and bought a deli case and some refrigeration, and I was offered this little tiny little place, a little alcove, little atrium entryway into a small office building, a little 2-story office building, and literally sent out one email and had a line out the door from day one.
Wow.
And it's going on 5 years now, and at lunchtime we still have a line out the door because once you open the door, it's 27 inches to the deli case, so we always look busy. Yeah, every time people always say you're always busy. There's always people. Like, yeah, it's because it's really small.
It's 2 feet to the deli case,
but that's
dude.
a good thing. Yeah. And, so what we try to,
What you were saying? What you try to do is what? Sorry.
Well, what we try to create in this space is that feeling of, when you walk down into the kitchen and you open the fridge and sometimes there's stuff in there, sometimes there's nothing in there, and sometimes